Hello, I'm Christian Overton, Perdue Agribusiness Specialty Crops Agronomist, and we're here today with Phil McLain of McLain Farms in Statesville, North Carolina. Appreciate you having us out today, Phil, and give us the opportunity to tour your farm and talk a little bit about our High Oleic Canola program that you've helped us pilot this year. Tell us a little bit about your farm here and the family.
Oh gosh, been farming for about 52 years. This is one of the family farms here, the Rickert family. My mother was raised here over the hill, was the McLain farm, and they joined the two, found each other and got married. We grow corn, wheat, soybeans, canola, farming partnership with my brother Mike. His son Preston is with us as well. It's a nice family operation.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good. So how long have you been growing brassicas, canolas, rapeseed type crops on your farm?
8 or 10 years now,
Okay.
I think. We've had different things, but yeah, we've been growing it a while.
Okay. What made you decide to put put something different in your rotation besides just a small grain, corn, wheat type rotation?
Well, we built a processing plant here that's behind us. We were going to do soybeans, then we moved to sunflowers, then we moved to canola. It seemed like there was more oil in canola, had more opportunity there, and so we went that way and stayed that way for a while.
How has it been to work with Perdue? And you're from the farmer's experience of working with Perdue.
Well, it's been good. We've had a good relationship. Purdue's always treated us fairly, paid us well, done what they said they were going to do.
Well, good. That's good to hear. It's always good to hear. Have you seen any other benefits from growing canola on your farm?
Canola fits well within our rotation. We grow wheat also, so they are planted and harvested at the same time. I like to have a little bit of both because with canola, some of the advantages are that you don't have the grading problems with wheat. Like any crop, there's going to be challenges. There's some disease issues that we've found out how to overcome that.
So Phil, thanks for bringing us down to one of your fields. We got the combine harvesting in the background here, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk with you about kind of from planting to harvest, some of the ins and outs to actually the nuts and bolts of what's going on here.
We like no-till because we're here in the rolling hills of North Carolina. So no-till fits our conservation plan really well, and we've gotten really good at getting stands with about all crops doing no-till. This crop plants like in September, early October, so it gets you in the field before you do with wheat.
Okay.
But these rows are 15-inch rows that we planted with our planter that we plant soybeans with. Nice canopy here. We haven't seen any yield drag. In fact, there's discussion that you could plant it on 30-inch rows if you had to and you wouldn't lose much yield. So that gives the farmer a lot of opportunity for the type of equipment that they have on their farm. The other thing that you'll notice here is the residue that's on the ground. It's not near like what wheat is, so you can cut through that planting soybeans without any problem.
Can you go over a little bit what your fertility management, your fungicide management, and if you do any insect management before we get to harvest?
We go out with a fungicide before planting called Contans that helps us with sclerotinia, and we're going to have that here. We'd been trying to put fungicide in the spring to control it, but it just wouldn't. You'd see those plants start dying right after flowering, and you'd have some plants with pods and they just die. And we're not seeing that anymore because we're putting this fungicide out in the fall, so that works really nice.
And that fungicide runs you about
It's about 20 bucks, but it's worth every penny of it. It's probably helped our yields 5 or 10 bushels an acre.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good return on investment there.
Yeah. And we're putting a fungicide in the spring about mid-bloom. That's about the same time that we're going to put out some micronutrients and other things that people put out right before, while it's flowering. So it works well then to do it there.
Now, as far as your nitrogen management, we like to see a little bit go up front at planting to give the plants some good nutrition there to start off with. What about through the rest of your season, your nitrogen management?
Yeah.
We recommend somewhere 2.5 to 3 pounds of nitrogen per bushel you're looking to produce. So
Yeah.
how does that fit?
Well, we shoot for a total of about 140 units. And we split it a lot of times because we can put some other things out. When we're doing it, we try to piggyback trips, so we're not making a special trip for anything, so that works out good. And then, it seems like you're doing more spraying with it than you did with wheat, but that's not the case anymore. With wheat, we're putting out as much fungicide and other trips as we do with the canola now, so I don't really see that it's any more work with canola than it was with wheat.
Sure. We've got it fertilized, we've got all the nutrients we need, we got it protected with fungicide. it flowers, it puts the pods on. Now, I knew this year maybe was a little different, but you like to use a desiccant as well
Yeah.
to kind of get you in the field earlier, get cooked.
Well, I mean, it looks ready a lot of times, and it's still tough, and you just don't want to not use desiccant, really. It'll get you in earlier, and if you did wait, it makes it easier on the combine.
Phil, so we've stepped over by the combine. We were talking about desiccation, and so you applied your desiccant. About how long do you expect to harvest after you make your desiccation application? And you say you did it with a drone this year as well.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
Great.
It worked very well. It got it down in the crop real good.
Mhm.
So, we weren't putting out but like 3 gallons per acre.
Wow,
It did great.
That's
But yeah, it desiccates in about 5 to 7 days.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're ready to harvest in 5 to 7 days, running these big machines in. Now, if you were talking to a new farmer or a farmer that was interested in growing High Oleic Canola, and they have the Draper type heads that you're running here, is there anything that you're doing different on your header maybe that would help ease in getting that crop into the combine?
We have an auger on this header here that's an attachment that deer can put on any machine, and I have an idea any head could have it put on, retrofitted. But it makes it a lot easier to feed the crop in. I mean, you can do it without that, but it probably gains you quite a few acres a day if you have that on there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this year with all the rain we've had at harvest, those couple extra acres a day probably made a big difference.
Yeah. Well, and canola tends to be kind of a light crop and fluffy, so that helps it push it in.
Right. Now, once you get the crop harvested, have you noticed any difference in planting your double crop soybeans back in behind in the stalks of the?
Well, of course, you don't have the residue that you have behind wheat, so that's nice. You do have some re-sprouting of the seed that you have to spray a little sooner than you do the weeds in the wheat sometimes, so that's a little different. But as far as planting, if you got good moisture, it's easier to plant in the canola than it is behind wheat.
Good, good. Now, my experience in working with a lot of different farmers, you need 9 to 10%. That 9 to 10% moisture range at harvest. It's managing that.
Interesting because the canola actually gets dry every day before the wheat does.
Okay.
You can start about an hour sooner. It's amazing how fast and after rain that it dries too. It works well, and getting it down to the 10% moisture is not a problem. I mean, what we've been harvesting this time has been running 7.
Okay.
So, and we've had rain about every day, but you have a couple of tenths of rain at night, you're back in the field the next day harvesting.
Okay. Well, Phil, thank you for having us here today. We appreciate the time you spent with us out of your busy day on the farm here with harvest and planting going on. Yeah. Appreciate your business with Perdue and look forward to you being a continued partner with us.
Well, we appreciate the relationship we have with Perdue and how well you've treated us and taken care of us over the years. We look forward to many more.
Appreciate it. Thank you.